Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sama. So in this video I want to talk about this story that came out about this Nigerian guy that lives in the UK. It's called a pastor Tobi. Their church is called Spark Nation or whatever. That they said they've been shut down by the UK government for alleged fraud. Let me just, let me read to you guys how it is on the news, UK news. So because UK news, they don't come and publish something carelessly because they know they can be sued if their information is not correct, right? It's not like Nigeria. The story will be like this, be like this. This is UK news, right? Let me read it to you guys, and then I'll discuss a few things that I want to say about this. And this is the UK Independent, and it says, I'll put a link. You guys can go read the full. I'll just read some part of it. Spark Nation Church shut down by government following fraud allegations. Okay, the church once held by the UK politicians as a beacon of hope for ex-gang members was hit by allegations of financial exploitation of its members in 2019. Let me actually stop here because let me say something, because there's I watched the video he posted on his Instagram saying something about the black church, but from what I'm getting from that, he's making it look like, it comes across like, oh, they are coming for us because we're a black church or whatever. One, a church should not be black or white. Christianity has no race. Let's stick with the truth, and you understand, forget about sentiment or whatever. Let's just focus on what is correct and what is incorrect. There shouldn't be a black or white church. That's that. But then at the same time, I just saw that I feel like the racist card being played here, because we're black or whatever. But you see, when you look at their story and look at some things, you see that there was a time when they were praised. There were times when he was at the front of Downing Street taking pictures, and people in Parliament recognizing, because he said he was bringing people out of life of crime and bringing them to, a different life or whatever. He was praised for all of that. He was spoken about it positively. But then he didn't say, oh, they are doing it to us. They're recognizing us. They are praising us because we're black. You see now that they are finding faults with them, that they now say, because we are black. You get my point? If they were not racist to that church, when the church was being praised for doing things that were seen as positive, so now that they are now saying things that they see as negative, we're not going to accuse them of being racist, right? Let me leave that. Okay, let's keep reading. So this is actually by Nadine White. I actually came across a video, and by this Nadine, I'll put a link where she spoke a lot about this Spark Nation Church. Before this happened, I think a year or 2 years ago, that she had investigated this church in the past, right? Okay, let me just read on. And it says, a controversial church has been shut down after failing to properly account for more than 1.87 million of outgoings and operations with a lack of transparency. That's a lot of money. The Bible tells us that there are some things that should not be mentioned among us Christians. And you see, it's not the first time a Nigerian preacher or pastor has been accused, or there's been allegations. It was Christ Embassy. I think there was a time it was Matthew Ashimolowo. We know not too long ago there was this Pandora Papers, something like that. And Adegboyega was mentioned. It's not the first time that some Nigerian pastors have been mentioned. You see, in Nigeria is anyhow. They can get away with whatever. UK is organized society. It's easy for them to be investigated or whatever. And another thing I want to say that I have noticed, when a political party wins and becomes the governor or the whatever, you notice how some churches try to quickly befriend the new governor, befriend the new Kini, the new president, befriend the new local government chairman, befriend all the people in politics, the head of police or whatever. When they befriend them, tomorrow when there is controversy, the people in power are now, it's like their hands are tied, because, this is no longer just a governor versus one pastor being accused. It becomes like friends. You notice that this guy somehow, from what I have seen, it seems that he put himself up to already be respected, or how do I say it, seen in a good way, and spoken positively about a lot of politicians. That I don't know why, because I feel like sometimes some of these things happen because it's like, once I get these people good name under them, then if anything happen, I already have a good name. You know what I mean? But it doesn't. This kind of thing, they don't really work in the UK. They don't do friendship and forget investigation that needs to be done. Okay, let me read on. And then it says 1.87 million is not more pounds, not naira, pounds, right? And then he goes on to say, Spark Nation, known as Salvation Proclaimer Ministry, that's what this Spark stands for, Limited, was wound up in the High Court on the 9th of June 2022 before Judge Bolton, government agency, the Insolvency Service announced on Friday. And then he says, the church once hailed by the UK politicians as a beacon of hope for ex-gang members was hit by allegations of financial exploitation and safeguarding abuses of its members, which it denied. Then the church denied it and says his congregation is mainly comprised of young black people from impoverished communities. If you go watch there, I have seen that guy a few times. You know, sometimes you're like, I don't want to talk this one. If I talk now, people will say one thing. And then this now came up. That makes me, okay, let me actually say, I'm going to be honest. Like when I see that guy and I see this Instagram live thing that he's promoting or showing off or whatever, I'm always wondering, where is God in that? Where is Jesus in this? Where is Christ in it? What part of this now is actually Christianity? I've seen some of the YouTube videos where they say this is their pastors. There was one I watched, a female pastor, and she is showing, I think it's her house, and she's going around the camera, and she went into the bedroom and say she's showing them the designer outfits and the designer shoes and all of those things. And I'm like, what? Another one I saw is a male pastor this time. He's showing the building, he's showing the swimming pool, he's showing this and showing bedroom as well. And he says something like, you know, some people will see this video. I think that was his bedroom. He said it's a presidential suite or whatever he called it. And he said, you know, some people watched this video and said, oh, if only I can touch the hem of his pillow. And you see, it's all about promoting luxury and vanity and stuff like that. The Bible talked about, if only I can touch the hem of his garment, for healing, for something meaningful. But you see how this one said it. If I can touch, you know, he knows people will be looking at this video and say, if only they can touch the hem of his pillow or hem of his pillowcase or something like that. Honestly, I look at all of that and I'm saying, which part of this is actually Christianity? I watched all they talk about growth, financial growth, level of, like, your level in life changing, and I'm like, where is Jesus? It's something that I want to say before I forget. If somebody is presenting you something that you look at it and you're asking yourself, let me take, for example, the way I see their presentation of their church is about come and become rich. It's motivational speech. Come and your life will change. You will no longer be poor. Christianity is not about money. If Christianity is about money, you know, get people out of poverty and stuff like that, then you have no message for Bill Gates. You have no message for somebody like Dangote. If Christianity is about telling people come so you can make money, then you have no message for those that already have money. Christianity is about coming to taste and see that the Lord is good. Coming so that your soul can be saved. Coming so that you can make heaven. And that is the message for the poor, the rich, the mighty, the whatever. It is a message for everybody. The message these people are preaching is a message for the poor and say, come out of poverty. It's not come out of your life of sin. We know the song where they said, great chances I met the Lord. Things I used to do, I do them no more. I used to steal, I steal no more. I used to do this, I do them no more. I used to drink, I used to be drunk, I'm drunk no more. I used to whatever. It should be that. And you see that is the message that is for everybody, regardless of your social status, regardless of whatever. People are preaching a message that is not about Christianity. Christianity is about following the life and teachings of Christ. I've said it before in one of my videos. If you look at a pastor and you are looking and the life does not reflect the life of Christ, you have to ask yourself, what Christianity are they talking about? If the pastor's life is completely different from the life of Christ, ask yourself, what Christ are they representing? What God sent them? I'll say it again. Like they said now, its congregation is mainly comprised of young black people from impoverished community, promising them this, promising them that. The allegations plenty. I saw the interview he did with Daddy Freeze, and he's trying to explain it, and I'm still lost. I'm not getting any of the things he's saying. I'm reading from a reputable news organization from the UK, right? And impoverished. Another thing I want to say about the black impoverished children, a lot of the black people will be from the Caribbean and like descendants, Africans and whatever, and they come from a society where, you know, their parents already grew up too, and their children grew up in these homes where, you know, it's still that message of prosperity gospel is there in the Caribbean. Prosperity, come to God so that your money can double, give so that God can give you more, and all of that. And you will find that children from those households where their parents are in that line of that mentality will be easily lured into stuff like that. Because when they said it's mainly, and we have seen it, it's mainly black children. There are a lot of civilized part of the world where if you come and tell them, come to church so you can make money, they will laugh you out of the building. Because to them, to make money is go and get a job, get a degree, get a training. But African mentality, a lot of black people mentality that comes with that, just come to church, God will just give you money, manna will fall from heaven. Just come to church, then give this, God will double it. God will give you money you did not expect. Strange money is coming your way. Money will just fall. But these white people, and I'm thinking that means what I think. I may not be right, but I'm thinking that maybe that's why that they don't have a lot of the white children, in their churches, because they grew up in homes with parents that have that mentality of you work, you make money. You go to a job, go and get a degree, go and get a training. You have to work for money to come. Money does not fall from heaven. So those kind of children may not be easily lured. But African children that grew up in homes where their parents were the first generation or the second generation of lured people can easily fall for this. Impoverished children. The gospel is not for the poor. It's for everybody. Both the rich and the poor, the high and the low. Everybody. Spark Nation's recent financial statements set out £610,000 of rent expenditure. However, the company did not have a base of its own and hired venues across London to hold services at significant expense, the court heard. Right? And then it says, Edna Okiria, chief investigator for the insolvency service, said, while Spark Nation claimed it had noble intentions to support vulnerable and young people, our inquiries uncovered a different side of the charity. And it says there were clear concerns around how the church group managed its affairs, and Spark Nation failed to properly account for income received from donations and other expenditures. So he made a post on Instagram, and he said something like, I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, but something like, you cannot be perfect in account filing. I was like, bro, come on. What does that mean? You cannot be perfect in account filing. Who could you fear God more now? That is why you hire an accountant. Accountants went to school and they studied accounting. They studied bookkeeping and all of these things so that they can do their jobs well. So this one is not saying you cannot be. Initially in that the phrase platform, he was saying something about the company name we used to use. We don't use that company anymore. That is the one that is this, the company. And I'm like, how many company are we talking about? Why does it sound like there are many of them? And at the same time, saying you cannot be perfect. You see this YouTube where they play. Even the money that comes out of this YouTube, I pay taxes on it. All I have to do, ordinary YouTube, I get an accountant, I'll be like, okay, this is what came out of it. How much of it is a tax? And he will look, the accountant do all the calculations, they tell me what I have to pay, I pay it. Guess what? If I don't even pay it, government no go no. For those that know, I'm a nurse. Like when I started this thing, I go to my job, I come, I do this. My income comes from here, my income comes from there. The system knows me as a nurse. And that's where they're expecting my taxes to come from. What I'm making from here. You see, if I finish and they say your tax is whatever, small, big, whatever, and I pay an accountant for that. Ordinary this one. And you're managing a church that is, they're talking about millions and millions, and you are saying you cannot be perfect in accounting. That's why you hire an accountant. If I can hire an accountant for this kind of thing, why not for a church? Now you say you cannot be perfect in accounting. Your imperfection is up to 1.8 million. Who could you fear God more now? It's not like 10,000 or something. 1.8 million. We cannot be perfect. Or say something like nobody can be perfect in accounting, whatever way he said it. If it was something like £100 or let's say £10,000 or something minor, something whatever, 1.8, this imperfection of 1.8 is a lot. At least let's fear God no matter what. There were clear concerns around how the church group managed its affairs, and Spark Nation failed to properly account for the income received from donations and other expenditure. And then he goes on to say, the court recognized the severity of Spark Nation's actions, and this sends a strong message that proper records and accounts must be maintained, even if you are a charity. It shows you guys, UK is not Nigeria. You can't do anyhow. If you do anyhow, you will see anyhow. That is the message there, and that's why a lot of Nigerian churches have been implicated in the UK before, but they never get implicated in Nigeria. And then they come to the UK because the UK is not anyhow country. He said after allegations about the church came to light, having been first reported by HuffPost UK, the Metropolitan Police and Charity Commission launched investigation into its activities, which are ongoing. And then he says at that time there were claims pastors allegedly pressured young people in the congregation to sell their blood to raise funds. I've heard about that in the past. They said, from what I understand though, is like there was the particular, I never knew that was even a thing in the UK, where they donate their blood and they give them like £100 or something. The allegation is that this church, they were telling church members that to sell their own blood to raise funds, in a practice referred to as bleeding for seed. So basically they go donate their blood, the money they get they give to the church. How does that sound? This is an allegation. Okay, let me read on because I think there's more to read. He said, although an organization can be forced to administratively close and cease to exist under that name on the Companies House register, companies can appear under a different name, and this has previously been known to happen. So they are accusing him, this is the accusation, that they start with one name. So if the government shut one down, they can start with the other name. And I noticed in that the Freeze interview, he kept on saying, it's a name we don't use anymore. Guys, go and watch that video. I'll put that the Freeze interview here again so you guys can check it out. Something like, he said, that's the name we use, we don't use that anymore. We don't even care. We don't use that anymore. Something like, there was where he was saying it. And when I read this and I said, okay, it looks like strategy. Is that what Christianity is about? I'm throwing this as a question out there. Is this what Christianity should be about? Okay, let me read more. And then it says, a company that's linked to the organization, registered as Spark Nation on Companies House, was incorporated in May 2019 and remains active with accounts overdue. Spark Nation rebranded as X Nation Family in June 2020, a month after head pastor Tobi Adegboyega announced he was stepping down as leader, though he has remained at the helm of the organization. Then he says the court heard that Spark Nation was incorporated in 2012 as a charity set up to advance Christianity. Much of its charitable work was based in London, working particularly with vulnerable people, youth and offenders. The Insolvency Service received complaints about Spark Nation before instigating its own inquiries into the church group's activities. Further inquiries found that Spark Nation either failed to comply or only partially complied with statutory requirements, including providing data to support claimed donations and accounting records to support 1.87 million of spending. That is a lot of money. It was also recognized that the company provided inconsistent information to the Insolvency Service and Charity Commission and failed to deliver adequate accounting records. Investigators interviewed one of the company's directors, Adegboyega, who was also known as Dapo Adegboyega, Pastor Dapo, or simply the brother of Tobi Adegboyega. During interviews, Mr. Adegboyega said that the church group had over 2,000 members and 200 ordained ministers and pastors, but failed to provide any supporting information. He also stands accused of previously conning a congregation member at the London branch of World Evangelism Bible Church, Webeck, into taking out a 100,000 mortgage loan to buy a building, but never materialized before moving to Spark Nation. So when you see there's been so many allegations of, they tell them, there was even a video I watched where they said, was it the guy was saying that they told them, they were even encouraging them to fake a car accident so that they can catch out on insurance and then bring to the church. These are the allegations. The allegations are too many. At the end of the day, if you feel like, why people are attacking pastors, you have to sit back. This video I'm just showing you, whatever information is out there, it's left to you what you do with it. And the truth is this: it's a good thing that Christianity is free for all. Everybody is free to come in. Everybody is so open. You can come, you can go, you can stay, you can whatever. It's not forced on anyone. Unfortunately, that is what I believe that is what it is that ends up being abused. Anybody can come up and say, I'm a pastor, and come up and use one Bible verse to tell people this is this or this is that. It makes it so free for all. And that is why allegations of exploitation can even come up. Anybody can come up and claim, the Lord told me that you should do this, the Lord told me you should do that, and or whatever. I wanted to share this because this pastor has been on social media for basically his extravagant life. And him talking about money and talking about, look at me, I'm wearing this, look at my car, look at my this, look at my that. I personally have always looked at him and I'm like, where is Jesus in this? Okay, I hear what he's saying. Okay, but where is Jesus? You're waiting for the point where you hear about Jesus, about God, about Christianity, and you're hearing things that are just for the world. Things that are just motivational speech. And look at me, look at my life, look at my this. That's not what Christianity is about. Christianity is not about that. Like I always say, if you don't know what Christianity is, look at Jesus and the life of Christ. Let me tell you, Christianity is following the life and teachings of Christ. What did Jesus teach us? What did he practice? What life did he live? What life did he practice? What did he show us by example? The Bible says, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith, not unto pastors. If you look at people and their lives are not reflecting what Christ came to do, you have to wonder what Christianity are they talking about. This story came up and I just said, let me just quickly come and make a video about it. And just to lay it out there, it's left for you what you want to believe. I'm just going to show you this is what is on the news. Okay? If he says that they are lying on him, then he has to sue these publications. There are a lot of newspapers that publish this story in the UK. Then he has to go sue them for defamation or for lying or whatever you want to call it. This is what reputable newspapers have to say about what the story is. I know he has tried to do his own explanation, which I'm sorry, I watched this video, or whatever response he's given, and I haven't been able to sink my teeth into anything that would kind of make more sense to it. But I said, let me come and make a video about it and just to show you guys what's out there in the news. As always, whatever your opinions are, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Until the next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.